she said, a real young, just really good-looking guy. So they don't look like creeps. They're not going to walk up with a sign so we know, boy, you better steer away from that guy. And so the guy was, they're not only sometimes just normal-looking, nice guys, but I would have been one who fought for the Ted Bundy thing. I would have had pantyhose around my neck. But Betty said that he was good-looking, young. They were oftentimes very charming. And I think the scariest thing to me is they're very perceptive. And most of the time, evidently, they can sense when you're on to them. And so as soon as he noticed that she was nervous, he actually touched her arm and said, did he not, I'm sorry to have made you so uncomfortable. We're
Right.
going to leave now.
Yes, and then we, discounting the word no too, I think during the course of the whole, 15 minutes, I told him the word no, like, my husband's not here, you're gonna have to come back, and then he kept going. And then, I actually said, you're making me uncomfortable and I've got to get the girls in, you're just gonna have to go. And then he knelt down and talked to them and play with them again. So, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah,
too.
anytime discounting the word no.
That's not a good
I
thing.
wanted to read something out of here, and this protecting the gift. He said, this very thing, he said, Betty's in the last chapter of this book, Protecting the Gift. He apologized for scaring Betty, which instantly put her at ease. In fact, she felt embarrassed for fearing him. As capable predators know, riding that roller coaster between dread and relief lessens the power of fear. But on a good note, it says, if Betty could fight while holding her child, then she could have done at least as well without her child, or even before becoming a mother. We don't want another generation of girls raised to believe they can't protect themselves. And we need to teach children that our primary defense, all of us, the defense is, it's a holistic approach between our mind and our body and our spirit, everything coming together with this idea of intuition. So those were some of the morning signs talked about appearance. One of the other things that I want Dr. Sonner to explain is this idea of how intuition works. I mean, you deal with anxiety, and I know a lot of people that are afraid all the time, every little noise. So how do we tell the difference if we're just anxious or when it's real fear?
Well, real fear is a healthy human response. It's a response we all want to have intact. And we go about our day with many, many sensory inputs coming in all the time. Many that don't come to our conscious mind because they don't need to. And whenever a sensory input comes that has fear attached to it, it immediately gets filtered, processed, and stored as a threat. We have a very powerful all-out bulletin response, fear response. And everyone's experienced it when maybe you stepped out on the curb too soon and here comes a car and before you know it, you've jumped back. And your stomach's, just queasy and your heart's going and your knees are shaking. And for a minute you can't even move, And you see that bus go by and all of a sudden your heart's going back down and you can start to stand a little bit and you may have saw that movement out of the corner of your eye. You didn't have to think about it. The response was so quick, you jumped back. Well, that's an example of the response that we have. Now, it's not always that extreme, but when some senses come in and say, that's not right, like Betty was having. She was having many sensory inputs that were saying, that's not right. That's something to really honor and know that we're being told from our senses that something's not right. It then comes to our conscious mind, and we've got to figure it all out. And Betty had all these different things coming in. She had these feelings and thoughts and senses that something wasn't right. But then in the roller coaster, she had these things saying, well, look, he's being nice, this is going on. And so she had all these things to try and contend with, and which overrode her sense of fear until the biggest sense of fear happened, which was either a loud cry or a scream of the baby, which sends to any mother, but not even just a mother, it sends to anybody a direct fear response. And with that, the whole system took over because it was congruent. She wasn't at that point anymore saying, well, maybe I don't have them right, you know?
And we're afraid all the time just dilutes the real fear.
If you're afraid all the time, that's sort of if you go through a state of apprehension, expectation, what happens is you get worn down, you get fatigued, you can't concentrate well, you're not alert to when real danger can happen. You're not as alert.
I think you have a great story to share about people on this story.
Yes.
My husband will think this is funny. This is just a story of a man and a woman, and they awake to a burglar in their house, and the man goes down the stairs and goes into the kitchen, and there's the burglar. He's caught him red-handed, and he said, wait, before you go, will you please go up and say something to my wife, because she's been expecting me for 30 years. I tried, and you're talking to Miss Anxiety a lot. I have a full life, job, kids, husband, just our lives are crazy. But I do think that's actually how I wound up in Protecting the Gift. Is The Gift of Fear was an empowering book. I wasn't doing really well after my attack. And a friend of my husband's who's in the Secret Service brought over the Gift of Fear as a way to get me healthy really quick, and realize that this isn't going to ever happen to you again. If you read this book and you're empowered and trust your instincts, and that's an empowering thing to know that, this probably is never going to happen to me again, because now I am self-aware and aware of things around me and things that we've talked about. And so I emailed Gavin DeBecker knowing he'd never see my email, and lo and behold, he writes me back and says, guess what, you're going to be in the next book. And then that led into, being on Oprah. So, but that's, again, the main point that I want to get across is, tonight is about empowerment and trusting your gut feeling, which I teach all the time on the golf course.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too. I want to ask you, David, because I can't imagine being in your line of work. I mean, I'd be anxious all the time. So, because law enforcement officers have to rely on their instincts. So, could you share a little bit about how you deal with the anxiety of all that and being
Sure.
against real fear?